Be still, my soul, the Lord is on thy side.
Well, hello, this is Pastor Jim Taylor from sunny Kunsan in South Korea, pastor of Haven Baptist Church. And I'm sitting in my office wondering where the time has gone. I mean, this week has really flown by, and we've gone through a bazillion different things this week that has been just phenomenal, that has eaten up all my time. So here I am on Thursday, the day before Christmas Eve, tomorrow being the 24th. And tomorrow night at 7:30 here at the Haven, we're going to have our Christmas Eve service. And we're gonna share testimonies and just make Christ the center of Christmas. And then after that, we're gonna have a time of refreshments. So if you happen to be in Korea, come on by. We would love to have you. And then of course, on Saturday, we're going to have our Christmas Day service and a normal Christmas Day service. And then after that, we'll have Christmas dinner. And I went with my wife to help her pick up the food and stuff for that. And I can tell you, there's going to be some incredible, wonderful food there. Don't come for the food, come for the preaching. But I mean, if it takes the food to get you to come to church, you're in sad shape. But if that's what we have to use, hey, just come to church. Anyway, so we're going to be doing that. And then, of course, Sunday, we got a full up day on Sunday. So starting tomorrow, it's just going to be back-to-back preaching and testimonies and singing and fellowship and fasting, feasting. And we're just going to have a full weekend. So I said all that to say this. I can't believe it's Thursday afternoon and I'm finally getting around to making this video. And I've been trying to get to it for the last 2 weeks. And anyway, so somebody asked me about Santa Claus. Christians and Santa Claus. Should Christians observe Santa Claus? So that's what the discussion is going to be about. Hang on to your hats. We're going to do that. By the way, if you have not subscribed to our channel already, I hope you would do so. You can kind of go down below the video. There's a place to subscribe, and you can ring the bell, and you can turn on notifications and leave comments. And if I say something that is not biblically correct, please feel free to let me know about it. If I say something you don't agree with, hey, tell me about that too. Be nice. I don't mind people disagreeing. I just don't like it when people get mean and nasty. So if you get mean and nasty, I always get to see it before it gets posted anyway. So if it's mean and nasty, nobody's going to see it but me. So, save yourself the time and the effort of saying mean and nasty. Anyway, today is Santa Claus. We're going to talk about Santa Claus, okay? Somebody asked me if I was going to deal with Santa Claus and Christmas, and so here we go. I'm going to talk about Santa Claus. I went out on the web, as I always do, to do some research for this, and I found a website where it was amazing. They did all of this scientific figuring of, how Santa Claus could possibly visit, every house in the whole world, basically, and all the children, and give them gifts and so forth. And so they did this stuff to figure out the number of visits. And they started with the number of children's homes. And they said, well, not everybody believes in Santa Claus, so he surely doesn't go to those homes. And if, I guess if you're Muslim or if you're Buddhist, maybe you don't do the whole Santa Claus thing. But anyway, they whittled it down to, in their logic, down to 31.5% of the total world population that Santa Claus would actually visit. Then they figured the average household, 3 to 4 children in each house, so he doesn't really have to go to that many houses. He only has to go to 172 million homes in one night. Then they figured out that, with the time change, that it would be 172 million homes in about 31 hours that he would have to visit. And so they did all of these math calculations, and they came to the end of it. And this is what they said. They said that Satan, wow, boy, was that a Freudian slip. Anyway, Santa Claus would have less than 1/1000th of a second to park his sleigh, hop off, get down the chimney if there is one, silently trying not to get stuck and not to wake up anybody, distribute the presents under the tree, and then after that, slip into the kitchen to eat the cookies and drink the milk and then put a little something in the stockings and then get back up the chimney and get back on the sleigh with his bag and even make it to the next house. So 1/1000th of a second. That is like, nope, that was too long, okay? So that gives us a Santa Claus that is incredibly fast. You might almost say that he's almost omnipresent. Yeah. Moving on. Anyway, Santa Claus's sleigh would be moving at such a high velocity that it would be smaller but almost close to the speed of light. And we know that no object can travel faster than the speed of light. So Santa's journey has to be, you've got to really move that thing in order to make the time between the houses, in order to make it all work. The fastest thing that man has ever made, I guess it's one of the satellites that's been going out into space, and it was launched in, what was that, Voyager 1 and 2. I think it was Voyager 1. Correct me if I'm wrong. Don't correct me if I'm wrong. I really don't care. But it was sent out in the 1970s, and it just finally got outside of our galaxy, 2 years ago, 3 years ago. So, and it's moving at thousands of miles an hour, and it's just unbelievable. But anyway, it would be just the G-forces on Santa's body would just be too much. It would just kill him, unless, of course, he was omnipotent, I guess. And then there's the financial aspect, of having to buy all of these gifts and having to buy all the food to feed these incredibly fast reindeers, including that one with a little red nose, in the front. It's a good thing he's got an environmentally safe sled, no gas fumes or anything like that. But it would take an incredible amount of money to buy all the toys that would be necessary to give all of these kids one toy. If he only gave one, and as most of you know, Santa usually leaves a lot more than one. So that means the amount of money would be phenomenal, probably beyond what we are even capable of imagining. And that's only for the good kids. And if he has to buy, coal for the bad kids, because everybody knows the bad kids gets coal, right? The amount of money that it would take for all that is an incredible amount of money. And, it is beyond figuring. Somebody tried to figure it out, and they said this. They said that the money spent on presents alone would be something close to $55 billion just for the presents, and that's not counting the coal. So, that is just completely and totally beyond possible. That is completely impossible, unless, of course, you were... unless you were omnipotent, I guess, or unless if you were maybe, you had the ability to supply any need and every need any time or every time it's needed, you would have to be kind of like that in order to be able to do what Santa does. Now, I know, right about now, I hope a lot of you know that what I'm saying here is kind of tongue-in-cheek, and I'm trying to show you that if any of what is said about Santa was true, then Santa would be basically the same as God. And we know that is just not possible. And we also know there's just a story that we tell little kids, and it's a little thing that, all these little kids, they go to bed on December the 24th, so excited to wake up the next morning to see if Santa actually ate their cookies and drank their milk and gave them a gift, and hoping that they'll get what they wrote to Santa in the North Pole and asked him to send them something and all of this. And please somebody tell me, where does Jesus figure into this story? Right? Right? But he doesn't. That's the problem. I'm not down on Santa. I mean, somebody told me he's actually a real figure from history. His name was St. Nicholas back in the 4th century or something like that, and he was good to kids or blah, blah. Look, it doesn't matter, even if that's true. Nobody should be able to kick Jesus out of his rightful place in Christmas. All right? Nobody. It doesn't matter who it is, or good or bad or whatever. Jesus should be the one who is the center of Christmas. And I know some people say, well, for me in my home, it's all just, it's all just, fun and games, and it's all tradition and stuff. Look, if you're going to do the Santa thing, which I really hope you don't, but if you do, at least don't lie to your kids. At least tell them the truth and tell them, this is tradition, but really Christmas is about Jesus. I'll never forget the day that I was in the backyard playing, and one of my neighbor friends told me that Santa Claus wasn't real and that my mom and dad were actually Santa Claus. It blew me away. I mean, it shocked my socks off. Maybe you don't remember learning that, but I do. In fact, I ran around to the front of the house where my mom was sitting with his mom, and I said, Mama, tell him. He says that Santa's not real. I know he's real. Tell him, Mama. And my mama looked at his mama, who looked at him, who looked at me, and said, well, son, I guess I need to tell you. But please don't tell your brothers and sisters. See, I was the oldest one, right? Look, on the day that Jesus was born, Santa Claus was nowhere around. Never been heard of, never been thought of, wasn't even a figment in anyone's imagination. Even if the stories of St. Nicholas is true, you don't find that until much later, 200-300 years later. It's just not true, okay? I'm sorry, I hate to break your bubble, but there's no place in the Christian home for the lies of Santa Claus. And if you're lying to your kids about Santa Claus, shame on you. And let me share with you some Bible verses, all right? Colossians 2:8 says, beware lest any man spoil you through philosophy and vain deceit, after the tradition of men, after the rudiments of the world, and not after Christ. God's word says, don't go after these things. If there's a tradition that is anti-Christian, don't go for it. You might say, well, it's not anti-Christian. In my home we have Jesus and we have Santa Claus. Oh, okay. So what percentage does Jesus get and what percentage does Santa get? Okay. Because the last time I read my Bible, Jesus was supposed to get 100%. So what percentage is Jesus getting now that you have got basically another omnipotent, omniscient, omnipresent personage called Santa in your household? You say, when I was a kid, I never thought about that. Maybe not. But that's what we were doing. And that's the reality of what happens in a lot of homes. James 1:17, every good gift and every perfect gift is from above and cometh down from the Father of lights, with whom is no variableness, neither shadow of turning. God, our Father, who gives the perfect gift of Jesus Christ every day, not just on Christmas, by the way, he would have us to be the same as his children. No variableness nor shadow of turning. We're to be, in our approach to life, different, significantly different than the rest of the world. God calls us peculiar people. He doesn't mean peculiar as in strange, though maybe some of us are. But he's talking about peculiar in the sense that we are special. We're called apart. We're set apart to live a Christian life, a holy life, which is to be void of all of the trappings of anything that could possibly distract us from giving God 100%. Let me move on to some other things here. I've got some other things I want to talk about. There's a lot of information, by the way, on the internet in favor of Santa, defending Santa, and defending the traditions, and a lot of that is out there, and you can find it and you can read it for yourself. They'll give you the origins of Santa Claus, and they'll say, well, really, it's not all that bad. But even at that, the biggest pushers of Santa Claus, I heard two things. One was, St. Nicholas was a Catholic idea, and that's why he's a saint, and blah, 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 and he's a good guy, and we ought to give him honor and respect. And I don't know who this guy was. He didn't give me squat. He's dead. Jesus is alive. Somebody please tell me why we're honoring some dead guy, good or bad, in the place of Jesus. Wintertime worship, is that what it is? Is that what we're doing here? Somebody else said, well, it really wasn't the Catholics. Actually, Santa Claus was promoted by Martin Luther. And, I read that in one place. I never saw it anywhere else. I don't know how true that is. I don't know. And I don't care. It doesn't matter who started it or why. The fact is, You can't give Jesus 100% of your time and focus when you're giving Santa Claus so much time and focus. It just doesn't work that way. Now look, I'm not down on decorations, okay? You want to put decorations up and, put lights in your window, or, I'm not even anti-Christmas tree. I don't worship trees, and I don't hang out with people that do. So don't go that line on me. If you do, I'm just going to ignore you, all right? But the real bottom line behind it all is that when you start celebrating Christmas, who's getting the praise? Is it going to be Jesus? Or are you going to teach your kids to get all excited about the coming of Santa Claus? I always thought it was a little creepy. Even when I was a kid, I heard the song, "You better watch out, you better not cry, you better not shout, I'm telling you why. Santa Claus is coming to get you." Oh, wait. He's coming to town. That's right. That's how it was supposed to go. But I was thinking, dude's a stalker. He's watching me day and night. That's just creepy. I mean, that is the Facebook friend from purgatory, right? So, and again, I'm not judging your motives. And if you're a Christian and you're doing the whole Santa thing with your kids, I'm not judging your motives. I'm just telling you that there's a whole lot of stuff out there that you should probably read and think about before you go and make that decision. Because really, ultimately, it's not about whether you get to have fun with your kids on Christmas. It's about whether or not they grow up understanding the place of Jesus in their life. Some of the parallels, by the way, between Jesus and Santa, I thought was kind of funny. Not really funny, but kind of funny in a non-funny way. Jesus, you read Revelation chapter 1, Jesus has hair white like wool. So does Santa. Jesus has a beard. Isaiah chapter 50 prophesies about them plucking out his beard. And the New Testament says that they did so. They plucked his hairs. Santa has a beard. His hour and timing of coming is a mystery. You need to be sleeping, you'll never see him come. The coming of Christ is a mystery, and so on and so forth. And, Santa comes from the north, and Jesus, it goes on and on and on, all right? Don't replace Jesus with Santa Claus, all right? Just don't do it. It is teaching your children something that is distracting and a lie. To start off with, you say, well, what about, Easter, I might do one on the Easter bunny, who knows, and the whole basket thing, and he's hiding eggs and stuff. Why do we have this stuff that we bring in? I understand why the world does it, but why do we Christians do it? Why do we appropriate the traditions of men, the things of the world? And they're not all bad. Like I said, I'm not down on lights or Christmas trees. You want to make some cookies and have a cake, help yourself, all right? But don't promote any one individual above Jesus in your home. If you do, you're being counter-Christian. And I'll just leave it at that. Until next week, may you be found walking in the reality of God's presence. God bless you, and have a great Christmas.